even though we're all meeting under unfortunate circumstances, I know we're all brothers in this, and we all have to stay strong and stay motivated and also keep positive, because that's what Joe would have wanted. Vigorous Steve here. So I see that I gained a lot of new subscribers the last 1.5 weeks. I got 3,500 new subscribers here. And I know we're all meeting here under very unfortunate circumstances. I'm sure many of you guys subscribe to kind of stay updated with what happened with Joe Lindner, Joe Statics. But as of now, I don't really have something new to report. I would advise everybody just to wait for an official announcement from the family regarding what happened with Joe Lindner. As far as I know, as far as I can tell, it's very likely that Joe had an aneurysm. But again, just wait for an official statement from either the family or them communicating through me or Noel Diesel or Nietzsche, which was Joe's girlfriend. So I wanted to take this opportunity to kind of explain what this YouTube channel is all about, so you can kind of make a decision if you want to stay subscribed or not, because my content was a little bit different from Joe Statics, right? He was very into motivating people and posting his workouts and showing off his physique. And this YouTube channel is mostly about discussing performance-enhancing drugs in the context of health and what you need to pay extra special attention to if you decided to go that journey. I'm well aware that a very large portion of Joe's audience and Noel Diesel's audience are not taking performance-enhancing drugs. They're very into health and fitness, cooking the meals, living the lifestyle, going to the gym, maybe taking some pre-workouts, and wearing those beautiful clothes from Young LA. Right? I'm sure some of you guys transferred over to this YouTube channel. I just wanted to let you know that my channel mostly caters to the meatheads who've been doing this bodybuilding thing for a multitude of years. So long story short, I've been bodybuilding since I was 15 years old and started experimenting with performance-enhancing drugs when I was 26 years old. So I've been drug-free, a natural bodybuilder for 11 years. Yes, that's a very, very long time. And I will be the first one to admit that I didn't attain my natural potential simply because the information wasn't as extensive back then as it is now. So if I had a time machine with the knowledge I have right now, I'm sure I could gain another 2 to maybe even 5 kilos of real muscle tissue. But back then, when I was 26, so that's a little bit over 13 years ago, I decided to take the plunge. And I've been researching about performance-enhancing drugs ever since then. So this is what I actively share here on this YouTube channel, whether those are steroids or peptides, the growth hormone, the insulin, the IGF-1, but also anti-aging peptides, longevity drugs, all that stuff I document here, whether that's from my personal experience of all of the research that I've done on these particular compounds. I document everything here so my audience can make better decisions on what they have to do and look for when they decide to take them. So whether that is from, cookie cutter TRT protocol, which is clinically recommended in the form of testosterone enanthate and cypionate, and perhaps Arimidex, sometimes in combination with human chorionic gonadotropin for testicular function, or maybe even clomid or enclomiphene monotherapy, up until the highest dosages, which are generally used by competitive bodybuilders, right? So anything in between, I cannot discuss here. Now, I always feel that it's very important to do your blood work, which I mentioned many, many, many times on this YouTube channel. Not only do I talk about blood work, that it's important, but I also document all of my blood work results for the last couple of years. I do blood work every month because I'm well aware that these performance-enhancing drugs can take a toll on your health. And it also means that when I see my own blood work results, I can make much better decisions. I don't push my head in the sand. If I take performance-enhancing drugs and I see that my blood work parameters are off, I make the appropriate adjustment. And I think over the last couple of years, I've inspired many to do the same, right? So over the last couple of years, I've seen a shift in this bodybuilding space and the fitness space in general. People usually went to do blood work maybe once a year or every 6 months if you're lucky. And now people are doing blood work every 3 months or even every month, just like I do. I don't document all of my results, but I usually do a full blood work panel every single month. Yes, it costs an arm and a leg, but I feel for my own health that that's important, because if I look into my family history, some people are not healthy. My grandmother had stomach cancer and passed away from that. My mother has cardiovascular disease, the coronary artery of her heart, had some calcification, and she had to put a stent in just to stay alive. Yeah, she had micro heart attacks when I was still living in Holland. My father is now diagnosed with prostate enlargement, and his PSA and free PSA levels have been kind of fluctuating up and down. So he's actively trying to resolve that. And then I have depression in my family, which I have completely under control, even though I do have some good experience with selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. So considering all of this, right, cancer, cardiovascular disease, prostate enlargement, perhaps prostate cancer and later on in life, and mental disorders, that's all hereditary. So I have to pay extra special attention when taking performance-enhancing drugs that these four are not manifesting within my body, right? So I do every year, I check my cancer markers. There's various of them. I'll put them on the screen. These I test every year because I have a history of growth hormone use and TB500 and BPC157 and insulin and IGF-1 and GW1516 and epithalon and many peptides that are actually contributing to the growth of cancer if growth hormone is already present. Now, in my personal opinion, from all of the research that I've done, I don't think that any of these peptides can actually cause cancer. But if cancer is present, they can certainly accelerate cancer formation. This is also another reason why I'm on a heavy antioxidant stack, because antioxidants are very anti-carcinogenic, right? Vitamin C, glutathione. Many of the antioxidants that I take, they're anti-cancer, right? All of the longevity drugs that I take, anti-cancer. But still, I pay extra special attention to these cancer markers because it's within my family. Similarly, I pay extra special attention to my cardiovascular health, especially during these times when cardiovascular health is more important than ever. Guys, I can't emphasize it enough. Take care of your cardiovascular health. So my mother has a cardiovascular condition and is now actively trying to resolve that with, various medications and health practices. But I want to be ahead of that and never develop a cardiovascular condition. So I did a CT scan with contrast. It's a radioactive iodine to see if I have any hard plaque. Unfortunately, that doesn't determine if I have any soft plaque within the arteries of my heart, but I can do a follow-up test when I go to the United States, where I have very detailed equipment that they currently don't have in Thailand. I've done an MRI, that's a magnetic resonance imaging of my heart. And that was also with a contrast, galonidium, as well as adenosine monophosphate, which dilutes the blood vessels. So you're literally hyperventilating in the MRI machine when they're administering all these compounds to check the functioning of your heart. And both the CT scan and the MRI shows that my heart is perfectly healthy, albeit that an ultrasound, an echocardiogram on my heart showed that I have slight heart enlargement when I'm on cycle. But when I'm off cycle, my heart returns to its normal size, to its baseline size. Now, I don't have a baseline of my heart before I start taking performance-enhancing drugs because preventative medicine and imaging doesn't really exist in Holland. So I had to go to Thailand and pay out of pocket to get this preventive imaging and medication done while I was already taking performance-enhancing drugs. So again, it's never too late to start doing imaging and preventative blood work, right? It's never too late unless you live in a country where imaging and blood work and that kind of stuff is very difficult to do, which I understand. Many countries out there are not this forthcoming when it comes to imaging. So if that's the case, if your healthcare system is only reactive, medical tourism is a real thing. You can always travel to Thailand or South America, where medical tourism is very catering to people who are willing to pay for this out of pocket. And maybe you can even get a little bit of a refund or return of your investment, right? Investment into your health is key here. A return of your investment through your healthcare provider back home, right? You'll have to figure it out for yourself because there's many countries out there with various healthcare providers. So based on all of my imaging, besides the slight heart enlargement that I have on cycle, my heart is functioning healthily up until today, right? I'm not sure about 10 years from now or 20 years from now, but I will keep track of it to ensure that my heart health stays sustained. I've done ultrasounds on my prostate, and I continuously check my free PSA and my PSA, which stands for prostate-specific antigen, with the cancer markers that I do yearly. So in both contexts, so far, so good. And again, regarding the depression, I'm on top of my 5-HTP. I make sure that my gut microbiome is adequate and healthy enough to produce adequate amount of serotonin. I focus on my sleep. And again, if I have a bad day, with meditation and some other practices that I do frequently, I feel that I have all of that under control. And again, my experience with an SSRI, fluvoxamine, which I ran for about a year, has been very, very positive. And some of the effects that I experienced on fluvoxamine regarding my overall sense of well-being are still there, even though I discontinued it. So when you look at me now and you think like, Steve, you're not that big, you don't have so much experience with PEDs, and it's because I'm off cycle right now. I'm trying to get my wife pregnant, and I'm doing the responsible thing, coming off everything, and then using fertility medications to improve my fertility, going forward to the point, which is basically now, to start conceiving with my wife. So all of these things that are hereditary, that might be problematic later on in my life, that I might accelerate by taking performance-enhancing drugs, I'm actively taking care of. I'm actively investigating with blood work and organ imaging and whatever else I need to do, just to make sure that I stay on top of it so I can diagnose something before it starts to become problematic. All right. This is what I want to emphasize on this YouTube channel. Preventative medicine is what it's all about if you decide to take performance-enhancing drugs. And again, if you're not into PEDs, then basically this YouTube channel isn't really for you unless you're thinking about taking performance-enhancing drugs, whether those are the steroids or the peptides or some other performance-enhancing drugs. You can already start doing a lot of research, because I started doing research when I was 20 years old, but I didn't feel I was knowledgeable enough about the subject until I was 26. So I took 6 years, which is basically very close to the time that a doctor would spend on endocrinology, for example. I spent an adequate amount of time researching before I got my hands dirty. And then I'll be the first one to tell you, the scientific literature that is out there is not based on people who take performance-enhancing drugs. We take from the scientific literature based on particular medical conditions and try to extrapolate the data so we can use that for our performance-enhancing drug journey. But in reality, the medical data and taking this for recreational purposes to improve one's performance in the gym, that doesn't always overlap or doesn't even come close. So that's why I feel that after doing a lot of research, you still need to get your hands dirty to understand how these performance-enhancing drugs affect your body individually. Because the scientific literature might say one thing, you take them and you get a whole different experience or whole different side effects or whole different results. You can see the difference in people who have a genetic response to performance-enhancing drugs. They take hormone replacement therapy, which is clinically recognized to kind of replace the endogenous testosterone production that men in later life no longer have. So their testosterone levels decline, and they decide to go on clinically recognized testosterone replacement therapy, bringing their testosterone levels up with exogenous testosterone from, let's say, bottom middle of the reference range to top slightly over the reference range, so they can feel youthful and energetic and productive. Their libido is good again. Again, I've got many videos about testosterone replacement therapy on this YouTube channel. Feel free to give it a search if you're interested. That's clinically recognized. But what I'm doing, what many people in the bodybuilding space or fitness space are doing, not clinically recognized, and there's not so much data that we can actually pull from to make good decisions with. So this is what this YouTube channel is all about. There's not many YouTube channels like this who document everything from the educator, right? That's my blood work and my imaging. It's all here. And then combining the scientific evidence with the biology that we have good understanding of, and then try to extrapolate that into safer practices when it comes to performance-enhancing drugs. So if you're still interested, stick around. If you want to know more about me and what I'm about, if that's about relationships, about business, about traveling, any other thing you would like to know about, just let me know down below in the comment section, and I'll dedicate an entire video about it so you know what you're getting yourself into, right? By subscribing to this YouTube channel. If you want to stick around, thank you so much. Again, even though we're all meeting under unfortunate circumstances, I know we're all brothers in this, and we all have to stay strong and stay motivated and also keep positive, because that's what Joe would have wanted, to keep positive and keep supporting each other, whether that's through motivation on Instagram or through education here on YouTube, right? There's a multitude of ways we can support each other. That's what this YouTube channel is all about. I want to keep Joe's positivity going. So if you want to come along for the ride, you're more than welcome. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.